What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Vlogs. I'm your host, Mr. Vlogs himself, and Happy New Year! Happy New Year to everyone, and we are finally here. We are at finals week. Who's going to take home the Bergeson belt? We'll find out. But let's go right into our bracket breakdown. So for our Conti side of the bracket, we had, let's go first with Jose beating Sasso. A tight race, but Jose advances. And a not so tight race, John beating me. John putting up 148 points. Congrats to John. He advances in the Conti bracket. And for Jordan beating Jimmy, Jordan takes 5th place. Congrats to him. And Jimmy unfortunately went 0-2 in the playoffs, but still made the playoffs. Good for him. And now for our Beer Mile side of the bracket, we have the Radio Girl Bowl. We had Connor defeating Gregory in the first week of our 2-week stretch by a good 35 points. Now, Gregory can win, but he has to beat Connor by over 35 points. We'll find out. And now going into our championship bracket, semis did not disappoint. They were exciting. We had on the Boston side of the bracket, we had Brian putting up the most points, defeating Tom 152-99. Man, just the Rams did not show up for Tom, but that's okay. And, well, not okay for him, but great for Brian. Brian advances to the playoffs. And now we have Steve beating Jake 125-108. Steve, everyone kind of wrote Steve off, like going into the playoffs. Seems like he wasn't there, but hey, he's in the finals. We have Brian versus Steve in the finals. Should be exciting. We'll see who's going to take home that Bergeson belt. And now for our comments of the week. There's some funny comments that are going along the way, but the winner goes to John. John just says, guy from the back room. Boy, this is second week in a row. Kopko would be making some noise if he was in the real playoff bracket. I had a good chuckle out of this one. It's very funny. Unfortunately, it was not the real playoff bracket. It was the Conti bracket, but from the way how his team started off in the beginning of the season to right now, how his team's performing at the end of the season, you should be happy about that. And before we go into our fan mail time, we're going to have Jordan's Fatty Selection right now. Welcome to Jordan's Fatty Selections, and this week's winner is Justin Jackson. He put up 30.2 points. His weight is 200 pounds. His height is 6 foot. His lbs per inch is 2.77. His favorite pregame snack is as many Pillsbury Doughboy biscuits he can fit in his pockets. His favorite TV quote is "Hold that door, hold that door." And fun fact, he worked for Caterpillar Inc. prior to joining the NFL. Thank you, Jordan, for your Fatty Selection. And now let's move on to our fan mail time. All right, now for our first question, we have Shake It Like a Salt Shaker at hotmail.com. It's crazy to think we're finally in the finals of fantasy football. Do you think these would be the two teams that would be in the finals on draft day? I mean, that's tough to say on draft day. You have a whole season ahead of you. But, I mean, we knew Steve had a good team after he drafted first in the draft. And then, I mean, granted, he kind of fell through towards the end of the season. But, hey, he's in the finals now. And Brian, his team really came into his own during the middle of the season. And come playoff time, no one's really surprised that he's in the finals. So it's tough to say, obviously, on draft day. But these are the two teams that are in the finals. All right, next question is from BeerMileFanatic5 at yahoo.com. Connor has quite the lead on Greg. Do you think Greg has any shot of coming back in this 2-week stretch? It's tough to say. I mean, Connor must be pumped having that lead. Granted, he's probably still sweating because it's not over yet. But, I mean, Greg also has Kamara and Jonathan Taylor, and they could just always put up monster points. But it's going to be tough. 35 points is a big deficit, but we're going to find out. All right, and our last question is from Leaping Larry 1738 at gmail.com. Okay, I will just get this question out of the way. Will we see a new champion, or will we see a first ever back-to-back champ? I don't know. Brian, it seems like Brian has the projections on his side. Yahoo gave him definitely a lofty amount compared to Steve. It seems like Steve is fighting an uphill battle, but it only takes one good player to have a dud week to really swing projections. So who knows? I mean, it's going to come down to some different players. I mean, like Deebo Samuel apparently can't have a bad week, but also A.J. Brown for Steve. He helped him out. Come the semis, it's not going to happen again in the finals. Who knows? But we're going to find out. But hey, a possibility if we could find out is our next segment is our drive-through drive-by. I go to a drive-through, I drive by and ask the question. We're in finals week. I'm going to ask them, who's going to win, Steve or Brian? Let's find out. Hi, how's it going?
347 is your total. Oh, open the Starbucks. We're going to get started.
You keep the change.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks so much.
No problem. Sorry, quick question.
Sure.
Me and my friends, we do this fantasy football thing, and we're taking a poll of random people of who you think's gonna win. So, finals is between Steve and Brian. If you only know that, who do you think's gonna win?
I'm gonna vote Steve.
Steve?
I named Steve. Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. All right, have a good one. And there you have it. The random barista thinks that Steve is going to pull off the upset and win it all. And that goes into our next segment, our fancy face-off. We're in finals week. We have Steve. We have Brian. They sent videos in of what they want to say to each other. Brian, the defending champ, he's going to go up first. Let's see what he has to say.
Hello, Vlogs faithful. It is I, your reigning double Ent-Andres champion. I only had Christopher's Vlogs fantasy belt for 1 week. But I'm back here in the finals, and Mr. Vlogs himself asked me to talk to my opponent, talk about how the week's going to go. So, Steven, congratulations on making it to the finals. Your first playoff appearance going all the way this far is a big deal. That being said, I think on the pod they've discussed how Jimmy limped into the playoffs, and if that's the case, Steve, I think you crawled into the finals. Lackluster performances in the postseason. I'm predicting a Young O'Keefe win and back-to-back championships, baby. This is staying in Boston, and that makes 3. Tied with the Vlogs man himself. Let's get it.
Wow, heavy words from Brian. He came to play. Thank you for the shout-out, by the way. And now let's hear for what Steve has to say.
All right, Brian, finals week. Here we go. There's been a lot of speculation that I may not be here, but certain things happen. I made some mistakes or some clever decisions, and we find ourselves here. But as I look back, as the first person to go from last place to possibly being the finals champion, I see myself as the hero in this situation. Not only because you're favored, but because that would make you the repeat champion. I know no one wants that. So for some inspiration, I went back to last time we played each other, and yeah, I think we know what happened last time. So good luck, Brian. I think you're going to need it.
Wow, Steve has all the props, and it just even has the phone of when they last played on the TV screen. Really just like pull off all the stops. He's wearing the shirt. Honestly, my excitement for the finals just like went through the roof. We're going to find out who's going to take home that Bergeson belt. And now to our final segment, our fancy vlog championship match. It's been so long. I want my vlog title back. I need it. I want it. I have to beat Gregory. We're going to have it right now. Fantasy Vlog Championship Belt Challenge. I'm your host. I'm going against the defending champ, Gregory. Happy New Year, Greg. How are you feeling?
Happy New Year, Christopher. I'm feeling good, although I'm also feeling like I'm going to have to run that beer mile.
Ooh, that's a little tough, but hey, it's a 2-week stretch. Anything can happen. All right, so
Starting this week down 35 points.
That's it.
Thanks for the optimism.
Someone's got to keep the optimism up. Tough deficit. Definitely a tough deficit. All right, for this week's challenge, it's pretty funny. I did have a mini golf challenge, and me and Greg are going to do a mini golf challenge, except it's going to be virtually on our phones. So we're going to do 3 holes, correct, Gregory?
That is correct.
All right, nice. And whoever is the winner of these 3 holes is going to be the fancy vlog championship belt holder. All right. I won by a stroke. I finally got my belt back. Thank you, Gregory. It's been a pleasure. I know it has not been going well, but hey, it is the new year, though. It is the new year. And who knows?
Yeah. This is just a sign of things to come for today, though.
Greg, we have
So-
to have a better attitude. This was very fun, and we're going to go into our last week of the season. It was just fun playing with you, Gregory, and we'll see you guys next week.
Likewise.
Finally, I've won back my fantasy vlog championship belt, and we are in the final week of fantasy football. What's going to happen with this fantasy vlog belt? Who's going to run the beer mile? And more importantly, who's going to win our fantasy football double entendres Bergerson Belt Championship? We will soon find out. Tune in next week for the finale.